What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Live Locks presented by Scores and Odds. If you haven't checked it out already, you're just making bad life choices. Go on over to Scores and Odds where you got picks from me, Meansy, Dino, all the greats. We'll just got this nice little prop shopping tool where it tells you exactly what the best odds are and what we project for each individual thing. But the most important thing is you get access to Grant's Action Lounge where I'm dropping in bets all day long as soon as I bet them, and we have been absolutely destroying the world. And I know Smartwater is on here with me. I'll get to that in a second, but he's been feeding me picks too. He's been right here with me, winning a boatload of money. Currently at over a 20% ROI on the month, up 72 units this week. I am on an absolute heater, and Smartwater's been here with me the entire week. How you doing there, Smartwater?
Yeah, I don't make as much money as you. I would like that, but I would say that we've been doing well, man. It's baseball. Baseball's tricky when it starts. I feel like there's not much edge personally. I think it seems pretty rough, but once the models you get a little bit more data on the year, the models start picking up on it and stuff. It's been good. First, I mean, I'm a very honest person. First little while wasn't as fun, but this is a fun time.
I lost 10K in the first month and had to drop my units down because it was going so poorly. I mean, It happens. Figuring stuff out can always take a little while. Now we're up 3K. So I've made about 13 grand since just absolutely getting slaughtered at the beginning. It happens to the best of us.
We're talking about a sport where the best hitters hit, 300, right? And stuff like that. So it takes a while, but I try to be as honest with everyone as possible, especially when things are going good. I don't want to seem like this is just always everything, but it's been a very profitable year for sure.
Yeah, and I just added 4 more props to the Action Lounge. Those are courtesy of Smartwater. Talking about before the show, I fully agree with them. We'll just go through that before we'll go through the non-home run bets before we get to the home run bets. You good with that? Because I think we're on most of the same home run bets. You've got a few more. First one's Alex Cobb over 4.5 strikeouts. You can get a plus 116 over at Superbook if you're not in a Superbook state. Plus 110 over at MGM. I like both of those. Real simple. He's good going up against a high strikeout team, and he may only be limited to 75, 80 pitches, but still got good enough stuff. I'm rolling with that. It's just a bad number. You just sent over a few to me. Greinke over 2.5 strikeouts. I know that Offshore likes that. He's a guy that does not strike out many bats at all, but he's going up against Oakland. Oakland is not good. Decent hitting weather, but 2.5 is just a low number. You can get it minus 127 over at Caesars.
And I believe in the past 5 games he's hit that 4 out of 5, with some games of 4 and 5 in there. So earlier in the year, I definitely lost money betting on the overs on him, but he seems to have picked up the strikeouts at least a decent amount.
Yeah, it just got so low for me that I started betting on it like after he went on a streak of not hitting it. And I don't think I've gotten it wrong once so far this season. Then you said Ashcraft under 17.5 total outs, so pretty much to not make it 6 innings. It is over in San Francisco. Ashcraft isn't a guy that runs out the pitch count a lot, does not strike guys out, doesn't walk a ton of guys, but it's a matchup versus San Francisco. San Francisco's a good hitting team. They've got some decent bats here. I like that. And you can get it, what is it, plus 117 over at minus 115 over at FanDuel or over at DraftKings. I transposed the numbers here. That happens. Even as a former accountant, I make those mistakes. Hauser over 3.5 strikeouts. Talk to me about that one.
I mean, this is just another one where everything that I do kind of leads to that. I don't think this one is overwhelming the margin. I think it's a pretty close, but the bat has a slight over. Just plug in a product that we have over at Roto Grinders and SAO. Anything Cardi does picks for us at SAO, and you can get the bat product on Roto Grinders, and I use that as my model for baseball. So it has it right around, has the slight over there, and then with the odds that you're getting at 115, I think it's profitable, man.
Yeah, no, I mean 18% K rate, not terribly high, but 3.5 isn't a high number. You can go a little bit later into games. The main thing for me that what reason why I'm right there with you, and I'm sure the reason why Offshore and projections like it is because you got Bichette, Teoscar, Chapman, and most likely Biggio in the lineup. All these guys are high strikeout bats going up against righties. He may get absolutely crushed here, but he should end up getting over 3.5 strikeouts. So I like
one
that
thing about him, if you look, I mean, he has 5 in 3 out of the last 4, and in all of those games, he's pitched 96 plus pitches. So I mean, it's not a very high number. You get some free swingers in there. It'll come down to a little bit of variance. Do you get them to chase that that ball one time? Do you get a favorable call? But I think I do think that it is a very plus EV bet overall.
Yeah. And then the bet I really like that you just sent me over right before the show started, Michael Lorenzen over 2.5 earned runs, -105. I like those odds a lot. Lorenzen hasn't been a terrible pitcher. He's gotten a lot of ground balls this season, but that's really all he does. He walks lefties at a huge clip, and you got Trammell, Crawford, Winker, Frazier, Raleigh, all in the lineup. So he struggled at giving up hits and walks to lefties, and then righties he's been decent at, but he's actually due for some negative regression. Doesn't walk a ton of guys, strikes out a decent amount, but gives up a lot of hard contact. I'm a big fan of the Seattle offense. I already bet, which we'll get to later, Julio Rodriguez and Winker both to hit home run, which I think you're on both of those with me. I really like this bet of over 2.5 earned runs. I think that he gets into some trouble here, and they've been letting him go a little bit deeper into games. He's gotten 6-7 innings a few times recently, so I really like this bet.
Well, he's another guy. If you're looking 96 plus pitches in the last 4, so I mean they're letting him go. In his last game, he went up against Seattle, gave up 7 earned runs and 7 hits. Now I know that doesn't mean anything for this game, but you can either argue that it's a good or a bad thing for Seattle. But they certainly didn't have a hard time, and I think 2.5. We were just speaking, and I think a very profitable bet that people should be looking at on a daily basis is actually unders on a lot of the 2.5 earned runs. I don't know if you want to kind of, express you're the reasoning for that. I think you do it better for me, but I do think the over in this situation is the right call.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can get into this a little bit more towards the end of the show, but essentially what it is, I mean, judging a guy that, I'm trying to do the exact math. Judging a guy that has a 4 xFIP, 4 ERA, 4 whatever, their mean outcome is going to be 2.5 earned runs per 6 innings. So assuming they always go 6 innings, it'll be roughly 2.5, 2.66, whatever it is. So if it's 2.66 and the over under is 2.5, you should always go the over, right? If that's the mean outcome. Wrong. The median outcome is much lower. You can only go 2.5 runs under 2.5. Like that's all you can possibly do. However, you can give up 9 runs in a single outing. You can give up 8 runs in a single outing in 2 innings. So the best possible outcome is 9 innings, 0 earned runs, which rarely ever happens. But fairly often, a guy will be tipping pitches, a guy will be doing this, doing that. So the mean outcome is over 2.5, while the median outcome is well under 2.5. It's why I got into props. I noticed that everyone was betting based off of mean averages when the median is going to hit the under at a huge clip. I don't know if you remember what's it called? What was it? Through RG, you could sharp side. Yeah. I'm currently still probably top 3 over on sharp side for prop betting
all the unders.
Yep. I would literally go through, go sit outside for 5 minutes, get some sun, and sit on my phone and bet the under on every single player prop in every single game. And it's absurdly profitable. Granted, I bet a lot of overs now. It's a different game in basketball. It's a different game entirely in most sports. Baseball constantly changes. But the main thing is you can find more value on certain bets on overs now. But overall, if you were just going to go across the board on everything, betting only unders, first of all, you're going to get limited, banned, or whatever very quickly because they know that. I think sharp side is still a thing. EJ is asking about that. But you're going to pump out a 1%, 2% ROI on basically all those bets. It's not huge, but statistically, people like to bet the over, so they always set it slightly more, and then people always hit the over, and they always believe the over because they're going off of mean averages and not median averages.
Always more fun to bet that an event's going to happen than it won't happen, right?
Yeah.
Like that sort of thing. But, the only one Julio Urias, I think that's how you pronounce his name, 14. the under on 15.5. I got it. Sorry, I got it at 16.5 outs on DraftKings. It's down to actually I see it's down to 15.5 now. I got it at 16.5. So clearly, but the bat projected it at 14, so it still actually likes it at the 15.5. I feel really good getting it at 16.5 minus 113 at the time, but I think that's just one more. And I just want people to know, like, checking these pitching outs and stuff like that, these have been very, very profitable for me. We're about to get into a bunch of home run stuff, but I don't want people to get away from maybe the more boring picks, the strikeouts, the earned runs, the outs. There's still a lot of value to be had there.
Yeah, and that Urias one, I didn't hit that because it moved, and I got very angry about that. It's down at 15.5. I think that's about right. So there's potential weather issues. A pop-up could end up happening. It's hot. It's humid over in Atlanta. Atlanta, a team that strikes out at a decent clip but knows how to work the count. Decent amount. Very good offense. Good hitting weather. Well above average, in my opinion, even though the weather edge kind of disagrees with me. So Urias going up against a team with a lot of righties in the lineup that can hit lefties very well, and Matt Olson, who just hits everyone very well. It's a spot where I think he's going to get into some trouble. He's going to get blown up a little bit. Add in the potential weather delay, and it's a great spot to hit the under. Unfortunately, it's moved. I still don't hate it at 15.5, but I don't think I'm betting that one. Yeah, you ready to get some home run props?
Yep, let's do it.
By the way, Avs hopefully win the Stanley Cup tonight, and that'll pop up my ROI on this even more. But we're going to start off with the Baltimore game. I've got a few home run props in here. We got Voth going up against Kopech. Kopech is, I don't know how much you know about him, but like could be really solid. Was great out of the bullpen last season. Great prospect, huge K stuff. Has struggled a ton this season. Absolute ton. Like giving up 56 or 64.7% fly ball rate so far this season. 35% hard contact. Going up against lefties. Somehow only has a 130 ISO. I mean, it's partially because he's striking out 29% of batters. But I've got Mullins, Rutschman, I can never remember Rutschman, remember how to spell his name or say his name, and then Odor. All three of these guys have massive home run props. I think you're on all three of them, and I think you're on Santander. You can get to that in a second. Mullins at plus 480, Odor at plus 460, Rutschman at 520. All those guys are absolutely fantastic odds. I don't understand them. I don't get it at all. I'm hitting all of them. And then, yeah, so do you have Santander? I think you might have sent that over.
Yep. So there's a few ways to kind of go about these home run props. Is you can kind of pick and choose. One thing that I really like to do is completely kind of like just in DFS, just stack games that I really like. Just because we stacked games for reasons regarding correlation and stuff like that. But I still think there is a little bit of correlation. If you get a blow up spot, you start bringing in worse relievers, you start, doing these sort of things. I do think that there's a small amount of correlation. So I do have a lot of the Baltimore guys that you have. I will say that that some of the White Sox guys are also kind of popping as well. So this game in general, I just will probably have a decent amount of home run props in. You mentioned Odor just is absolutely popping in everything that I have, especially on FanDuel, but also on DraftKings. But I mean, you're seeing just such differences. I mean, FanDuel has Odor at plus 460. DraftKings has it at 340. I mean, these differences cannot be ignored, and you guys have to line shop if you're doing this.
Yeah, we got a drunk Denver dude, aka Denver Dude Bets, over on Twitter. He's going to be on the show on Tuesday, I believe, dropping in a Abreu double, Mountcastle double. I've got Abreu to hit home run. I don't mind the double bet. I think it's a decent odds over on DraftKings. I mean, Voth, not very good. Gives up a ton of the double may actually be a better bet, but gives up a lot of hard contact, decent amount of line drives, decent amount of fly balls. It's average hitting weather over there, but Abreu obviously really good. I got Abreu at plus 4. I must transpose those numbers. I'll fix that in a second. I got it at plus 440, I believe, and I think you have Robert, which I don't mind. He's also a very solid bet. Is that right? Do you have Robert?
I do. Yep. I'm trying to
plus
look.
430 is what I
was trying to see the for Robert. I got plus 420 when I bet him.
Yeah, and Abreu at plus 430. when you have so many bets, you just end up messing up some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking though, I mean, these have dropped. I mean, we got. I mean, let me see. Like Odor, we had at. I think you might even got in earlier, but I have 520 on FanDuel, and I mean, he's at 460 and still just popping off the chart. But I mean, the earlier the better. A lot of these bets you can get, even though they're already so much worse or better, depending on how you define it on FanDuel. The earlier you get in, you're probably getting still an extra 40 or 60 points.
Yeah, so I generally try and double down on my bets. It's weird. FanDuel allows you to bet again like an hour later.
Correct.
Like Mullins is actually at 490 now, and they're going to let me bet.
The closer you get to the game, the more that they, you know what I mean? Like they'll allow a max amount. But yeah, I actually have to remember every day. I have to remember to go back and add more. And I always get really mad when I realize that I forgot with a certain player and they hit a home run, and you only get like the half unit on them or something like that. But
yeah, so I just bet Mullins again. I already maxed out earlier, and they let me get another 75 on it over at FanDuel, and like I already bet Rushman at what did I get him at? I got him at 540. It's at 560. I think they'll let me bet again, even though I maxed it out. Yep, 64. So I actually have to bet multiple times a day.
Yeah, same. I mean, if you were, let's see, so you said like a Mullins one, which somebody that you like right now? Oh, they're not even letting me do it again right now.
Yeah, I got in way earlier in the day. I think that could have been why. Or
they're giving me $6.45, so I'm gonna go
nice. I have no idea what's going on with FanDuel system. I do not understand it, but I'm still taking full advantage of it every single time.
It seems like you said, they have a set amount of money that they're willing to lose on every prop, but they also want to kind of give themselves as much advantage as possible throughout the day. So they only allow, early on, if they set a line that's awful, they definitely only allow you to capitalize on it to a certain degree.
Yeah. So that's generally what happens with their home run market. They're doing what's it called? There's retail and then there's market makers. So they make the market. So as the day goes on, as their numbers get more and more solid, they'll let more and more money come in on it. But these home run bets, like generally with markets, it's pretty simple. There's over and under. You want a 10% juice, right? Like, or 10 points of juice on each side. So you're guaranteed, if 50% comes in on both sides, you're guaranteed a 3.9% ROI or whatever it is. With no under on the home runs, doesn't really work that way. So I don't understand what they're doing with their market. I don't know if they're even making money because they have such drastically worse odds than everyone else on so many different bets. But like, yeah, we've been doing this I put my toes in the water for a little bit for about 2 weeks, went fairly well. And so now I just went all in and I have 100% plus ROI each of the last 4 days with a total of 7K made, 7.2K made off of 5.3K bet. So I don't know. I don't understand.
I mean, once we started, we use different things that obviously line shop for us and all of that. But when every single day FanDuel's 200 points higher, it's very tough. Now I will say,
Drunk Denver dude actually has a point there. They're making huge amounts of money because they don't give true odds on home run parlays, and people are doing 3 and 4 leg parlays. I mean, one of the guys in chat yesterday hit a 3-leg home run parlay from what I threw in there, $1 to win like $280, $500, something like that, something ridiculous. So yeah, forgot about that. They're making all their money off of multi-leg parlays and same game parlays.
Well, yeah, it's pretty tough though for stuff like us. Like, I mean, who are very limited. If I bet a home run prop, I am no longer allowed to use that prop ever again for the rest of the day. So you can't put it in any legs. You can't do anything like that. Not to mention single game parlays. I showed in your chat yesterday. I went to bet one because they were talking about it in your chat. So I was like, I'll throw one in for fun. DraftKings allowed me 23 cents on a single.
You can see parlay. It right here. Parlay with Mullins and Rushman in there. Either one of them, I can now bet $0 on $0.00. They only allow you to allocate a certain amount over to each different home runs, and that includes parlays.
And for example, DraftKings, once you bet a player, you will never be able to bet that that player again for the rest of the day. So unlike FanDuel, where like you were mentioning, they reopen it for you to bet later on.
Yeah, and there are random times where they'll actually allow it again, and that's when they have too much money coming in on the other side, or they believe it to be a stone cold lock to their algorithm. We actually saw that in the draft last night with constant changes between who was going to be the number 1 overall pick. It was really weird. They fully trusted Woj, and so when they moved the lines, they let other people put massive amounts of money in. And I think they just got crushed last night. Yeah. I don't know for sure, but I think so. Next bet I got, we'll just go with the Seattle game. I have Julio Rodriguez to hit home run plus 660, Taylor Ward plus 500, and Jesse Winker. That one's over at Barstool, actually, plus 600. Really simple. We talked about Lorenzen. Not a guy that gets up a ton of fly balls, more of a big ground ball pitcher, but still gives up a decent amount of hard contact. Enough fly balls where I'm getting plus 600 on Winker, who's absolutely crushing it recently.
Yeah.
And I'm getting plus 660 on a batter as good as Rodriguez. I'm taking that. And on the other side, Flexen's just hot garbage versus righties. 45% hard contact rate, 37% hard or fly ball rate since the beginning of last season. This season, it's even worse, 44 and 48. Like, he's made to give up bombs, and he's got a 188 ISO going up against righties. And Ward, while he's fallen off since the beginning of the season, plus 500 is just a silly number.
Yeah, I have a lot of these ones. When you talk, I'm reminded to go back and rebet them. So, I mean, I sent you all of my picks. We share a lot of the home run ones. We kind of pick our home runs pretty similar. You'll dive in a little bit deeper than me on a decent amount, though. When it comes to the home runs, I think we share most. Somebody mentioned some bases. I just wanted to get them out there. I had Anthony Rizzo over a half base, so basically a hit, and Michael Harris have a hit. So I just wanted to throw those out there before I forget.
Yeah, both of those are pretty solid. Why does FanDuel hate Nolan Arenado?
Each site kind of has like a few players that are just very different based on their models. I don't know what it is, but I mean, for a while there, like DraftKings hated Baltimore, and they were like the most mispriced people, and now they've seemed to corrected that, and now FanDuel is the mispriced one, but FanDuel is basically the mispriced one for majority of people. So I haven't gone too much into the kind of the doubles or the 2+ bases props too much, but I know people in your Discord seem to have been really like grinding those out lately.
Yeah, no, you can find some pretty solid ones almost every single day. I'm so focused on home runs right now because the ROI is ridiculous that I have to hit them multiple times a day, and yeah,
it's a grind.
Yeah, but Arenado, guy has a 45% fly ball rate, and Hendricks gives up hard contact. It's generally a guy I target versus lefties, but Arenado is just so good. And plus 420 is a silly number. I got him at plus 500 for a bomb the other day. I think that was one of my turd bombs, and he had 3 doubles 3 barrels in that game. One of them happened to end up at a home run, I think, in the top of the 9th, bottom of the 9th, something like that. So really saved my tush there. Let's see. Varsho and Walker both to hit a home run. Varsho plus 440 over at FanDuel. Walker at plus 360. I don't know if the dome's going to be open. I would guess no. They haven't released that information yet. I don't believe it's going to be 100 degrees, so there's always a chance. But going up against Garcia's given up a 45% hard contact rate to righties, 53.5 to lefties with a 51% fly ball rate. Like, Varsho is fantastic. And Walker already has 19 home runs on the season. Like, he's taking the ball out of the yard fairly often. Numbers look fantastic. Huge fly ball numbers, huge hard contact numbers. So both those guys at home run, I think, are great going up against Garcia. And then, yeah, like, I just don't understand the high odds on it.
I have a few that we kind of didn't touch on, like a Stanton and Gallo one. The reason why I
have
these,
Gallo and Donaldson, by the way.
You have Gallo and Donaldson? Okay. Well, Gallo, so we'll talk on Stanton, but that's good. I was going to add Donaldson as well. The one thing that I noticed, too, is that you can definitely really good pitchers, the Verlanders, whatever, they do often – they're 1 thing. If you look at the Scherzers or the Coles, it's the home run ball. I mean, especially when they challenge people with their fastballs, etc. Those high strikeout guys. So it tends to seem that, you can get very good odds on players going against high strikeout elite pitchers. So I don't think you should be afraid of that. Like, yes, the odds are what they are as far as how many times they're going to strike out or whatever. But I definitely think there is value. Now, Joey Gallo, I told you yesterday or 2 days ago, you got me on him, and he's just been, as a Yankees fan, he tilts me more than ever. But I do have him again today, and let's just hope.
Yeah, you and me both. Let's see. Gary Sanchez plus 430 to hit a home run, and then on the other side of that game, Crone at plus 350. Obviously, he's not in Coors. His home run numbers have been great. He's fallen a little bit back to earth recently, but nothing will get you going like a Dylan Bundy start to hit a home run. Bundy, one of my favorite pitchers ever. I've won a ton of money off of him, betting against him and betting on him. The dude gives up a lot of home runs, 49.5% fly ball rate to righties. Big hard contact numbers. He was a guy that was using the sticky stuff and was going great for him, and now he's falling back to earth. And then Marquez on the other side has not seemed like the same pitcher he has been. So Gary Sanchez, a guy that's a big fly ball hitter, 46.1% going up against righties. Big fly ball hitter, and Sanchez going up against big hard contact versus righties, and Marquez, solid over the line. Did you hit those ones?
Yep, I have a lot. I'm checking the sheet. I didn't add all of them to the sheet that I sent you, so I still trying to figure out which ones I didn't. And then when you mentioned one that I don't, I've been trying to kind of sneak away. I think all of those reasons, like you said, Bundy's just kind of a legend in the DFS/gambling world for every reason that you said. He's had some of the biggest blowups, and then some absolute gems in spots where people were very, very low on the guy. So I think that all makes sense. The only other one I think I have that's a random bet that the bat really liked was Miami first half minus 150. So I just wanted to kind of throw out a few of the not home run bets. I was doing very well on not home run bets before, and I don't want to go away from them as they're kind of the foundation of my daily bets. But these home run props, we can't stress enough, if they're going to continue to be what they are, it's silly not to fire at them every day.
Yeah, no, and it's just getting weird how good they've been. Last one I have, Hunter Dozier plus 520. Irvin, a guy that goes with a ton of hard contact on fly balls, not a ton of home runs, but it's because he plays over in Oakland. I can look at his splits. Let's see, back in 2021, looking at home, 10 home runs and 87 innings, 13 on the road. I mean, not a huge difference, but that's just kind of how things go with Oakland tends to target a lot of fly ball pitchers. See Mike Fiers. Guy doesn't do well in good ballparks, but in good pitchers' ballparks, he'll do very well. So they intentionally target big fly ball pitchers because they have that massive foul ground where the bullpens are, and a park that sits at sea level that's generally cold. So that's why they do that. But you can tend to get a little bit of an advantage on not only their hitters, but a lot of the hitters going against their pitchers for home run bets, because they do give up fly balls, and their home run per 9 is drastically lower than it should be, considering that they're not actually that good at limiting home runs. They're just in a great ballpark. But yeah, I think that's it. Any bets that we're missing?
Not really. I want to give a shout out to Cardi. I hit Nick Gordon plus 1,300 a few days ago. I only had time for like a handful of bets. Went to the bat. Hitting a plus 1,300 always feels fun. So shout out to that. And I think your Discord's been a lot of fun lately. So I think that's if people aren't in that, you should definitely go. A lot of sharp people in there. A lot of sweating together with all the home runs, cheering, making money. So if you're not in that, I think you're really missing out.
Yeah, dropping the whatever it's called link in chat right now. scoresandodds.com/Discord. Yeah, if you have RG Premium and Scores and Odds Premium, I think at the moment, I think you can still get in there with RG Premium. Then, yeah, you can get in there, and literally right after I bet him, I'm throwing him in there. Like, you can get the best odds on him. Like, you don't have to wait till this show. Just sign up for it. It'll more than pay for itself. Heck, if you've been just betting $50 per home run this week, then you've paid for your next 7 years of Scores and Odds subscriptions. It's that simple. So go get signed up. Smart Water, always love having you on there. I'll be talking to you in Slack, and I'm sure in a little bit in the Discord the rest of the day. Guys, good luck on your bets. We're out of here. See you, kids.